he turns to camera and it's, I like having Huel. Huel fuels me up.
When I was training, if I had Huel, I wouldn't have had to worry about my meal prep. It has all the nutrients and ingredients a growing boy needs.
If you need a job, go on LinkedIn. I was recording for all of that.
I know you were. And welcome back to the Casual Fans, where we do this for free.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to turn to the camera and go, I love you.
I love bagels.
How have you been anyway? Welcome to TCF Sport, I should say. How have you been?
Yeah, what are you using as part of the intro?
I'm
all
not
of that.
really sure. I only started recording when I turned to the camera and went, I love you. So I think I should leave it in there.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, I wouldn't because they're not paying you. You know, give us some money. I mean, give Ben some money. Yes, I'm good. I've been good. How you been?
Oh, not too bad. Nice to see that I'm joined by Brexit Steve again. Skinhead Steve over there.
Well, as you know, things in my personal life have taken a turn, so I can't afford haircuts anymore. So this is one and done, all over.
I feel like you're the monk from Mean Machine. I feel like I'm going to get like a 2-footed tackle in my chest halfway through the podcast.
Only if the liner's not looking. Yeah, to be honest, I do feel like the monk from Mean Machine because there's a lot going on up there. The monk, so calm and collected.
That was a good film.
It is. It's all right, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I prefer The Longest Yard with that.
The British version of The Longest Yard, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, the Casual Film Fans are back.
We always start off with talking. I always prefer when we do an introduction as well. I don't know why. Just when it's, I don't have to turn to camera and go, welcome back to TCF Sport. I prefer it when it's just like something natural that we've both started with. So I like Huel for the third time already. Yeah, it makes it feel more natural. It's quite nice. But
one day, Ben, you're going to be set up where you won't even need to be looking at the camera because you'll have 3 cameras probably.
Yeah.
And you won't even need to be worrying about it.
Well, it would be quite nice to have that sort of setup because then
one
the
day.
clips. Yeah, I know.
You know, it's like Brian said to Chris Griffin, aim for the stars.
There's the Casual Family Guy fans.
Yeah.
Back again.
5 minutes after saying to Meg, they always say aim for the stars, but Meg.
Yes, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Anyway,
we should talk about the football because
probably
we normally
maybe
do.
that's what we're supposed to be here for,
Yeah,
aren't we?
and I feel there's no better place to start than Manchester United for me, and not so much the performance at the weekend. We can talk about it a little bit against Brighton, but it's more Ruben Amorim's comments after the Brighton game.
Again?
Yeah, it feels like he says something after every game, but this one's probably the most dramatic so far, in which, I quote, he said that Manchester United are the worst team maybe in the history of Manchester United, obviously talking about the team that he's got at the moment. Do you think that was too harsh, or do you think it was bang on?
Going on form, I think he's on point, isn't he?
Yeah, but are you surprised that he's come out publicly and said it?
No, but the way it flashed up on the apps is still a little bit clickbaity. Have you seen the whole post-press conference?
I haven't, no.
So it's on Match of the Day 2, because that's the only football I've caught up with this weekend.
Well, I've seen, not the whole press, I've seen,
Yeah,
I watched
so
Match
that
of the Day
bit.
too.
So they just showed that line, but he's talking about before and after as well, isn't he? So he does obviously say that.
Yeah.
But it's not just come out straight. They make it look like he's come out straight off the bat and just gone, oh, we're the worst team, Manchester United team ever.
Well, no, because I saw
he's talking about everything else entailed about his style, isn't he, and the issues they're having. So
yeah, because he said that he's not going to change, he's not going to adapt. He understands that there's going to be pressure on him to adapt. He's not naive to that, but he said it's his way and his way only, which I quite respect.
Yeah.
He obviously has a clear idea that he's trying to implement.
Well, Mark Goldbridge has said that if they get relegated with him, so be it. But keep the manager. It's not the manager's issue.
I feel like most United fans. This is why when we had the conversation about who's like the manager most under pressure, and you said Ruben Amorim before he was appointed. I feel like most Manchester United fans are on his side effectively because they've had so many managers consecutively where the players have thrown the towel in. And yeah, that people have then turned on the manager.
Sorry, they've thrown the towel in. They threw the towel in at the beginning, didn't they? Went, oh, nuts to it.
Yeah, but that's why now it feels like most United fans are on the bandwagon of no, the players. It's the players that need to change. We're going to stick by this manager regardless. We can see that he's got a clear identity and philosophy. Nuts to it. Get behind him.
Yeah. Ten Hag wasn't doing that bad a job, was he?
It feels like it, all that criticism that we gave him, because Ruben Amorim mentioned him as well, didn't he? Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah, well, he said that. I think he talked about that how the previous manager was getting better results than he's getting at the moment, so he understands there's going to be pressure there and whatever else. That's another part of the press conference that I did see, to be fair. But it wasn't just in the press conference that he came out and said what he said. Apparently, or I don't say apparently, it's true. After the game, in the dressing room, he was fuming with the players. He broke a TV. He was shouting at them. Like,
did he kick boots?
It was good job David Beckham was
Beckham!
There, yeah, it's just because the comment is one thing, but letting your anger out at the players in such a way after the game, again, whether it was good or not, I don't know. It feels like that's the first time maybe that the pressure's got to him a little bit. I'm not too sure, or the whole of the job is starting to show.
Or just being open. I mean, do you think? Here's another question: is he saying this because he's like, well, if they sack me, I signed a 3-year deal, so I'm on a decent payout?
Oh, I doubt that, but the question that I'd rather focus on is: do you think he regrets leaving Sporting?
Maybe. I mean, Manchester United has covered a job, isn't it?
Yeah.
Regardless of what situation they're in.
The stress.
Man United come in. Yeah, but the stress of it again in football terms, yes.
Yeah, I know.
But in everyday life, this is what annoys me when I watch football. And I know people go, "Oh, shut up!"
But that's why it was quite nice when one of Ruben Amorim's first interviews that he did. He said that the job wasn't going to change him. It wasn't going to change his attitudes, how he thinks about life, that sort of thing. That's why it was. Yeah, it was quite nice to hear him say that. He
comes across as quite likeable, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Like, I've got my ways and what I want to do, and he doesn't make excuses either. When they're losing, he's not making excuses.
No.
Like, I like somebody else, we know.
Yeah, mate.
Not a good day. Yeah, I don't know. Like, they're not going to get relegated though.
No,
the teams below them aren't good enough, basically.
Yeah.
So they're not in a relegation battle. I don't care what anyone else says. I know they could lose another 3 or 4, but they still won't get relegated because they will pick up a couple of results here and there.
Yeah, all they need to get to is 32
29
points again.
Probably 29.
It's like Tottenham as well.
Well, at the moment, 26 or was it 24?
Between 24 and 27. There are 3 or 4 clubs there now.
Yeah, exactly. 1 win or 3 draws, boys. You're there.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Safe to go again next season.
26 points was the marker last season. That's what Luton got. And Forest survived on 32. So
yeah. And if they are on 26, they're 10 points above the relegation zone.
Yeah.
Which is a chunk of points. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
It is going to be funny, though, when they play below them, which isn't many. But it being a big 6-pointer every weekend.
Well, it's like the game against Southampton. Southampton should have been 2-3-0 up.
I've not seen any of the highlights from midweek. I just saw there was 1-0 up, 1-0 down.
Yeah.
Until quite late on.
Deservedly so.
And I just thought, I thought, well, if they lose to Southampton, then...
They had a brilliant chance, Southampton, with Sulemana, because to go 2-0 up, but he put it wide.
You silly Mana.
Yeah. Talking of United as well... We had this conversation at the time the transfer went through because we were both questioning it. Yeah.
Were we?
Just a little bit.
Who'd have thought?
I'm going to ask it again based on his mistake against Brighton.
Just to interrupt you there.
Yeah.
2 mistakes against Brighton, but the second one wasn't picked up.
Which?
Mitoma's goal. That ball comes in his 6-yard box.
Yes.
He should be coming out and claiming that.
Yeah. So
Not one commentator, not one pundit picked it up.
That was the first mistake because the third goal was the claim from the cross.
So 2 mistakes. So the second one, I think I said to you last week, didn't I? When I saw it, I was like, is that the mistake they're going on about? Because I was like, it's a massive error. And then obviously the third
fumble,
goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, he should be... that ball in the 6-yard box, it's about chest height.
Yeah. But did you see...
When it's in the middle of the goal.
I don't understand why keepers don't come out and claim things as much as they used to anyway. Did you see Tottenham against Everton? Tottenham's second goal.
Pickford?
Yeah.
It's
come the whole way across the 6-yard box.
Pickford did 2 or 3 when Bournemouth came back and beat them.
I know, because we talked about it at the start of the season as well. But he's got the cheek to turn around and moan at his defenders whenever they give the ball away or whatever else.
I mean, be fair, he's got T-Rex arms, hasn't he? So it's difficult for him. That's why David Raya is decent for Arsenal, because he comes and claims stuff.
Yeah, although
he moves out the way for penalties, so swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
Arguably, he could have come and claimed the second one, Watkins's goal at the weekend as well. Because
I've only seen match today too. So
the ball was floated. It wasn't whipped. Dad will say it should have come out and claimed the first one as well, but the second one, especially because there was no pace or flatness on the ball, it was floated in. He could have come out and got it. It was enough time to come out and get it. But anyway, the question I wanted to ask: should United have ever replaced David de Gea with Onana?
Well, I think as I said at the time, the amount of points he saved them that was Ten Hag's first season, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I always go back to this game, but the Leicester game,
yeah.
The amount of saves he made, and like top quality saves as well.
Mm-hmm.
Leicester could have been clear at half time.
That was their relegation season.
Yeah. And it was just like, I know he can't play with the ball at his feet, and I know don't get me wrong, he'd made some mistakes that season, early on in the season as well at Brentford, didn't he?
And he made the odd one late on in the season, but goalkeepers do. I remember one at West Ham when I think they lost 1-0 or 2-1.
Yeah, so he had made a couple of mistakes, but for every mistake he makes, he does about 3 or 4 big saves because they were conceding a lot of chances. Onana, yeah, he can ping the ball around, but the mistakes he makes aren't even from shots sometimes.
Yeah.
Case in point, the Brighton game.
Yeah, to come out. Obviously, you've already mentioned the one that came across the box, but the second one was even worse. To come out and fumble.
There's no pressure on him.
No, because some games he makes a couple of decent saves. He made a really good double save against Southampton.
Yeah.
But then when you're but when you're coming out and conceding the goals that they conceded and losing games like that,
I mean, the amount of mistakes he has made since being in there is borderline farcical. But then he also did start, like you say, to show a bit of form. But yeah, you've got to be able to keep the ball out of the back of your net.
Well, it comes back to the fundamental point of what do you want your goalkeeper to do first and foremost? Be a good shot stopper. Keep the ball out of the back of your net, as you just said. David de Gea in his last season for United, even though he made a couple of mistakes and people were jumping on his back, pundits especially, he won the Golden Glove in the Premier League. He obviously won United's Player of the Season.
Is that most clean sheets or most saves?
Most clean sheets. He obviously won United's Player of the Season over so many years.
Yep.
He was still, at the time, they let him go 31 years old. So in goalkeeper terms...
Still got a good 8 years or so, at least.
And hence why he's doing pretty well with Fiorentina at the moment. I know they've dropped off in recent weeks with a few poor results, but they were around the top 4 for Fiorentina.
I mean, it took him a while to get another club. Maybe that's because of wages, but very good, like I say, very good shot stopper. Mm-hmm. And even he struggled when he first went to United, but he was young.
Yeah.
And he made mistakes, not the sort of mistakes talking about Onana, but he got a little bit bullied in the box from corners and crosses.
He was weak, he was small, he was frail.
But I remember there was a game, I think Old Trafford, Liverpool, Balotelli.
Yeah,
absolutely rasped it from about 9-10 yards. He had no business saving it, and he tipped it onto the bar, and he's just like. There was games I've seen
as Arsenal fans. There was a 3-1 at the Emirates where the amount of chances that we had, Lacazette, Sanchez at the time, absolutely smashing the goal, smashing it to pieces, and he saved pretty much everything. Obviously let one in, but he had no right making some of the saves that he made, which obviously led to comments after the game on social media that he could save the flipping Titanic. So that sort of thing.
Yeah, I saw that. That was on the old. That was someone who's not on Arsenal fan TV anymore.
Is he not? Oh yes. Yeah.
Although I have seen on social media that they're saying, "Oh, because of Arsenal's form, the Arsenal fan TV is back. It's back."
Well,
but again, we're not here for that. We're not here for the clickbait.
No, because the only thing I want to say about that,
Haaland's overrated.
That's not necessarily a controversial opinion or clickbaity. That could be a genuine opinion.
I need to pick something else. Don't I? I need to pick something else actually that would be clickbaity. Pep Guardiola is the worst tactician ever. He can't build a team.
That we're going to come to later on. Let's come to Leicester first, though, because a former United player and technically a former United manager with a couple of games that he took charge of this season. Interim indeed.
Oh, I just wanted to add one more thing to Man United.
Yeah.
I know we've said it before, but Ralph Rangnick was spot on, wasn't he? Absolutely spot on. Open heart surgery.
Oh, you sent me something yesterday from social media on the United players' wages. I don't know how much accuracy there is to that, but if there is accuracy to it...
I mean, if it's close...
With Anthony on 200 grand a week, Mason Mount on 300 or 350, Casemiro on 350, Mason Mount's on 300 because it's on the same as Bruno Fernandes. But the amount of players on...
Lindelof on 120.
100 up.
Yeah.
I've said that they're a couple of years away with the players that Deadwood that they need to get rid of. They are so much further if those numbers are accurate, because that's mental.
How do you get rid of those players?
Yeah. Well, it's like they're having issues moving Rashford on. If Rashford is even going to be moved on, there were links with Barca. Apparently, Barca are in for him on loan. Dortmund as well, but he's also still open to staying at United, and that to me is.
I wonder why.
Yes, he's not been able to find a club as quickly as he would have liked. Might have to go back cap in hand apologising. Leicester. Let's talk about Ruud van Nistelrooy, because what have you made of his start there?
His start, the first couple of games was okay.
That's the only 2 games that he's got points from.
Yeah, I know, but even the West Ham game, they conceded a lot of chances, didn't they?
And the Brighton game as well.
Yeah, I mean, the Brighton, they got 2 late... Well, not 2 late goals, but they went 2-0 down, didn't they? They're just a bit leaky, aren't they? And can't score as many either.
Well,
so,
which is a very bad combination, but it's 7 consecutive.
It's relegation combination, isn't it? Yeah. Unfortunately, they need to start picking up points, especially home games.
Yeah, well, games against Fulham, games against Palace that they both had, you would have thought, don't lose, try not to lose.
Minimum don't lose.
Yeah, but it's 7 consecutive Premier League defeats now, and you talk about being leaky. They've conceded at least 2 goals in the last 8 Premier League games as well. Even the draw with Brighton, as you mentioned, they conceded 2. So overall, from his first 9 games, Ruud van Nistelrooy picked up 4 points. By comparison, Steve Cooper picked up 9 points from his first 9 games in charge. So I'm not saying that the club are regretting sacking him. It's not like that. But as you kind of hit the nail on the head, that right now it's not really about performances or things like that. You just need to pick up points when you're in that
especially
position.
the home games.
Yeah.
The away cup game at Man United would be interesting, wouldn't it? Because they had a good cup game against QPR, like
4-2 or
6-2, I think.
Well,
no,
it was
a high score. Yeah, it was high scoring, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, and they needed that. They needed to win because again they conceded, but
even then they conceded a couple in that. So
one of the goals was beautiful though.
Yeah,
a bit of a tickaboo, and then Wout Faes had a bit of a tickaboo on his own as well in that game.
Oh, really? It's interesting, some of the fans' reactions in the stadium, because it has gone a little bit toxic. They've been questioning some of Ruud van Nistelrooy's decisions. So at the weekend against Fulham, they shouted, "You don't know what you're doing," after he subbed off El Kanous, because he was one of their better players. And they've also started chanting, "Sack the board," during the game because of the financial issues or some of the transfer business that has happened over...
But they were affected by COVID, weren't they? Because they're an airline company.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a different... So, because I thought when I read that they were singing "Sack the board," they were singing about the owner, but it's slightly different. So the owner, not so much because of what he's done for the club, and obviously his dad as well.
His generosity to the locality.
Yeah, but it's those in senior positions at board level who are in charge of transfers or things like that. That's who they were taking their anger out.
Fair enough.
More. So it has gone a little bit sour, and it also feels like Leicester fans are still comparing to what they were a couple of seasons ago. Really, they should never, as you've said, they should never have gone down the season that they went down.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
The players that they had, just to name 2, Harvey Barnes and James Maddison, like they're good players. They shouldn't have gone down. Yuri Tielemans as well. The quality, obviously.
I wonder why they went down.
Was it you mentioned that penalty?
Well, there's that at the home game against Everton where Maddison was on a jolly.
Yeah.
But over the course of the season, I wonder why they went down.
Yeah, it's.
I know why.
Why? Oh, is it the goalkeeper? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's the goalkeeper.
Of course.
Who we haven't seen since
the game against Wolves because of the mistakes that he made there.
Yeah,
and took him out the firing line.
Took him out the firing line. Took him out of Leicester, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, he's not good enough to be blunt to play at that level.
No, not his first team. No,
and he doesn't have the players in front of him that trust him either. And
he's not even on the bench though, is he? He's got the third choice and someone else on the bench.
Well, yeah. Is Hermansen back then? Yeah. Or
no, not yet. He's still because it's still the other lad.
Yeah, they need him back soon.
Yeah.
But to me, the writing's on the wall with them. It's obviously Southampton are gone, but Leicester, I don't see where they're going to pick up enough points from.
It's going to be tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
The interesting thing with Leicester, have you seen, because they got Buonanotte on loan from Brighton, haven't they?
Yeah.
Have you seen who's gone in for him or considering going in for him?
No.
Another team in a relegation battle.
Ipswich?
Tottenham.
So you're not putting Tottenham in with United? They won't go down.
They're not going down. They'll be fine.
I know.
It'll be hilarious, but no, they'll be fine.
Do you think Postecoglou will make it to the end of the season?
No, I don't.
How long Well, okay. So if you're saying that, how long do you think he's got left there?
I think he's got until Liverpool beat him in the League Cup semi-final.
Yeah.
I think that'll be the final straw for him.
It feels like that's what they're holding out until to give him a chance of getting to a final.
But he can't. I mean, he can't help some of the stuff on the pitch. Like I think when there was 1-0 down to Everton, Son had a chance.
He should have buried it.
And he normally does, doesn't he?
Buried it. Yeah.
Unless he's playing against Man City and it could help Arsenal out.
Yeah.
But yeah,
there's like no conviction in the finish, which is surprising for him because I've always said of Son, whenever you get him into those positions, and especially 1-on-1, unless it was against Manchester City to give Arsenal a chance, he always scores. But yeah, awful finish.
Just shocking.
But I mean, I was surprised they beat Liverpool in the first place in the semi-final first leg. But to me,
it's only 1-0. They're going to get smashed.
If they get through to the final, I would be very, very surprised with all the injury issues they've got. Because you can say they're unlucky with injury issues, but a lot of the Tottenham fans have been saying it's also down to Postecoglou's methods and decisions when it comes to who's starting, who's not. The two centre-halves, for example, his first two choice centre-halves, he rushed him back from injury to play against Chelsea. Both got injured again in that game. Haven't seen him since.
Yeah.
One of those things. Talking of relegation, I did just want to ask one thing to you actually. So at this stage last season, do you think the three promoted clubs, i.e. Luton, Sheffield United and Burnley, had picked up more or fewer points combined than the three promoted clubs have done so far this season?
I saw that question and I was trying to work it out because you've got Ipswich on 16, haven't you?
Yep. Leicester on 14.
Leicester on 14, so that's 30.
And Southampton on 6.
So that's 36. Burnley, Sheffield United, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Luton. So Sheffield United, I know, were doing poor. But at this stage last season, did they each have... They need to have about 12 points or more each, didn't they? Yeah. 36. It's the Southampton one that's throwing me, really. So did they have around that?
This is why I put the question as opposed to just telling you, because I'd be interested to see what you think.
Yeah, so initially I was going to say, yes, they did have more. But I'm going to say, no, they don't.
This season, you're talking, or last season?
So last season, I was initially going to say they had more points than this season.
Yeah.
But I think the Southampton point total was a bit of a red herring. And I remember Sheffield United were really poor, weren't they? Yeah. And yeah, so I'm going to say that this season they've got more points than what the promoted clubs had last season.
Should have gone with your first instinct. Last season they had 42 points at this stage of the season.
Really?
Yeah, this season they had
6 points more.
But that's the reason why I put that in, is because for all we talked about last season that the three promoted clubs were so poor, this season even worse. And I know Southampton are throwing it a little bit because they have been Derby County standards.
I saw that clip, by the way.
It's funny, all the Southampton fans commenting like, yeah, we're going to beat it, we're awful. We're fair enough. At least
well, records are there to be broken. I mean, you'll go down in Premier League history and you'll go down this season. Sorry.
Oh, that's been known from the beginning of the season. I mean,
10 games in.
Ipswich have got Southampton at the weekend, I think. So,
yeah. No, Ipswich have got Liverpool at the weekend.
Oh yeah, sorry. It's playing the first game. It's the reverse fixture of the first games of the season. They play Southampton soon, though, I believe. But yeah, that stat was just ridiculous to me because of all we talked about last season, the promoted clubs being as bad as they were, and this season been even worse. So
yeah, because Luton did okay for a little bit, didn't they? It was just the Sheffield United one was throwing me with there, and like I say, I wasn't sure when you asked your question if Southampton was a bit of a red herring, but
well, yeah,
there you go. I think so 6 points difference then.
Yeah, at this stage last season, Sheffield United was starting to get beaten by like 5, 6, 7s. So
yeah, and Burnley were more on their style of play. Then I remember the Old Trafford game, didn't they? They gave away a goal, but then pulled it back to make it 1-1. It's like if you was to, like you say with Spurs, adapt, they could have still been there maybe this season.
Yeah, but obviously that got company the Bayern Munich job. So
see how good.
Yeah,
and they're going to win the league, yeah.
They should do. Leverkusen are now only 4 points behind.
Oh, it's back on. They lost to Atletico in Champions League last time.
Yeah, I had 1-1 on my Super 6. Atletico scored a last-minute winner.
I think I had 2-1 the other way.
What did you have the Barcelona score?
I think I had like 3-0 Barcelona.
I had 4-2 Barca because I thought, all right, it's going to be a mental game. I didn't think it would be what it was.
5-4.
Yeah, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. All right, let's talk about a few other clubs. More the clubs that are doing well at the moment. So starting with Nottingham Forest. Do we owe Chris Wood an apology now?
I think I've said this before in this podcast, but one good season does not a striker make.
It's not just one good season, though. He had a bad time at Newcastle, granted.
He had a bad time at Forest last season.
Okay, I'm going to pull up the stats
he did
right now.
Oh, let me get out my spreadsheet.
No, because I had this conversation when I put this clip out before. The guy said for a player that is playing for predominantly relegation clubs, he has done pretty well, scoring 10 goals a season for most of those seasons. Take out the Newcastle seasons and his first season at Nottingham Forest, in which he only played 7 games, he has scored at least 10 goals in every season.
Okay, but 10 goals over 38 games.
Yeah, but that's to say if he has played 38 games. I'm saying at least 10 goals. For a striker playing for a relegation side, that's not a bad return.
He should be getting 15, 16. No, he should. If you're saying it's really good, it's 15, 16.
I'm not saying it's really good. I'm saying, do we owe him an apology?
No, we don't. Bloke's on, what, 80 grand a week minimum, at least, at Forest.
I don't know about
to
that.
score 10 goals a season.
He's got 14 in 22 this year.
How many of those are penalties? And how many?
A couple.
But how many? All right.
You are the most stubborn person I've ever met in my life. Brilliant.
No, Kevin Bacon was not in Footloose. No, but you're talking about top strikers. He's not a top striker. He's doing well.
Whoa! I'm not talking about top strikers. I'm talking about, do we owe him an apology?
No, for what?
For calling
doing his job.
All right, Roy Keane. For calling him shite.
He's not even doing his job. Yeah, but it's like when you need him to score the chances when it's 0-0. I've seen him in the press conferences when he's like slated his teammates, and even when he's been on the pitch slating his teammates. And it's like, but Chris, I mean, look, all right, maybe not so much this season, but do you remember last season there was a couple of big chances he missed, and Forest went on to draw. There was one where it was 2-0 up.
It was Luton. We've mentioned that game.
Yeah, I know, and he's slated, but he slated them in the press conference afterwards. Like, and I know he scored 2 goals in that game, but he missed a good chance with his hat trick to put the game out of sight. Luton came back 2-2.
Yeah.
Hey, apologising to him, please. Apologise to your fans for only scoring when you want.
Well, I think the fans are pretty happy with him this season.
No, he's doing well this season.
Yeah, the whole squad's doing pretty well.
Doing really well. Yeah. I mean, did you see the goals against Southampton?
Yeah.
I know Aina cleared one off the line,
yeah.
But the Ramsdale mistake, by the way.
The offside.
Sorry, that's offside, but Bernardo Silva's isn't. Wolves, Man City away.
I know.
He wasn't. I'm sorry, he wasn't interfering with play. There's no way he was interfering with play.
Yeah.
But this is where the consistency is. I mean, don't get me wrong. If he's stood in offside position, then he's offside as far as I'm concerned. So fine. But he got away with one there.
Well, yeah.
He proper got away with one there. But
he threw it into his own goal, didn't he? Really?
Well, the problem is he's just so used to walking back and picking it up. So now his brain's programmed. That's what he thinks he has to do. It's not about stopping it. It's about picking it up and throwing it out to the centre circle.
Yeah. Did you see the news yesterday as well that Forest had put in a £22 million bid for Brentford's Jan Wissa?
No, I didn't, and that's a strange one. Who's leaving then? Awoni?
Yeah, well, he's not getting him because Chris Wood's playing, but Johan Wissa, unless they're going to use him as a winger, but they've obviously got Elanga and Hudson-Odoi. Obviously, he would strengthen that, but it falls below Brentford's valuation anyway.
Do you think Chris Wood, because he's having a good season, wants an improved contract, and they're like, there's better players out there?
Potentially, but I mean, Chris was also 33, so it's that situation of...
You've had your really good season, off you go.
But he might want a couple of years extra, and Forest are only saying no.
Okay.
See it season by season. I don't know if that's the case. Wissa's out of contract in 2026 as well. So
unless he's going to get a really decent deal, I don't see why Wissa would go to Forest. I know they're having a good season this season, but the fans love him, don't they?
Yeah. Well,
so at Brentford,
him and Mbeumo are vital.
I think he's been linked with Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, and Man United. And Mbeumo. But obviously, no moves until the summer. No one's going to sell in January.
No, well, Brentford don't need to sell in January, and they need to keep those 2 players because
most
they're
definitely.
so important to the goals that they score.
Oh yeah.
Another club doing really well, Bournemouth. So how impressive have you been with Bournemouth and Andoni Iraola this season, and how impressive was their win at Newcastle? Yeah,
really good. Really good. Cliver, another hat-trick for him.
Yeah, and I mean, we credited him and said it was a really good hat-trick against Wolves, a couple of penalties, but this hat-trick was like the finishes, especially the last one that he rasped top bins.
Oh, I know.
Lovely.
I know, beautiful.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a Cliver that good since his dad played there. Yeah, no, they've done really well. And I think I was thinking about this the other day. The board who stood by the manager during that really tough period when he began last season.
New board as well, because they came in with new owners.
Yeah,
the Americans.
I think fair play to them.
Yeah,
and I think that's the way that some people need to look and go, well, hang on, I know it's not going well, but give it a little bit of time.
Yeah,
and they did, and they're reaping the benefits now, aren't they?
Well, I will always come back to what I said at the time when we did the predictions, and obviously on podcast, and I hold my hands up, like I got it so wrong.
Don't be too harsh. You're a casual fan.
Yeah, but yeah, when I said if they lost against Wolves, Gary O'Neill's Wolves at the time, which they did, because Bournemouth hadn't won a game under Andoni Iraola yet that season, even though it was only 9-10 games in, I thought maybe it's time to change, to move on to a different manager. Obviously stuck by him. They then went on a run that, I mean, the latter 2/3 of last season, I think they picked up about 40 odd points, which put them top 6.
The style of play, everything.
Yeah, everything. And what impressed me even more about Newcastle, the win at Newcastle, was they're missing their 2 first choice centre forwards because Evan Nilsson fractured his foot in training and Enazunal suffered an ACL injury, and they only had 11 fit first team players, and they went up to a team who had won their last 9 games and played them off the park.
Yeah.
Unreal. Yeah, deserve all the credit that they're getting.
Yeah, absolutely. And if they continue like this, it'll only be a matter of time before he's being lined up for a big job.
Yeah, which obviously is unfortunate for Bournemouth, but it's just the way that football goes, isn't it?
It is, yeah. But you'll want to try and keep hold of him as long as you can.
Yeah, but unbeaten in 10 Premier League games now and sitting in 7th, 3 points behind Chelsea in 4th. What do you think is possible for them this season?
Definitely Europe. Is it top 8 for Europe?
Top 7.
Top 7.
Depending on who wins the FA Cup and the League Cup.
Yeah, so definitely a good chance of Europe for them if they continue. And they'd have to really drop off badly, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Who's 8th at the moment?
I'm not too sure. Maybe it's close. I think Villa.
Because you got Villa. Because the surprise package this season, that was the chair, not me. The surprise package this season really is Forest, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Forest and Bournemouth are almost your surprise packages for Europe.
Yeah, 8 for Villa.
8 for Villa.
And Bournemouth and Forest play each other at the weekend.
Yeah, which will be an interesting one.
It'll be a good game, that, yeah. A very good game.
But yeah. No, fair play. Well done to them.
Indeed. Let's come to City as well before we do a little bit of transfer chat and go do some more predictions as well. But Manchester City, so what are your thoughts on Haaland's contract extension?
Don't really care.
You surprised he's got that long?
Well, it's good for him, isn't it? Especially if he gets an ACL injury or a really bad injury. Like, the one thing it says to me is those 115 charges aren't going anywhere. They all know it. Corruption!
Or hence why they're making as many signings as they are in January as well, which we'll come on to in a moment. Because to me, they wouldn't make those signings and players wouldn't join them if they were going to be relegated.
I mean, you got to admire Pep Guardiola's dedication, though, haven't you? Like, divorce his missus to stay there for another 8 years with Haaland.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
If that's what you want.
Okay, so the more interesting question
You
to
cannot
me...
replace her.
The more interesting question to me about Haaland's contract extension, do you think he'll break Shearer's record for the most number of Premier League goals?
Depends how long the tactician stays there for, I think. Because it's Guardiola's system, isn't it?
Well, that gets the best out of Haaland?
Yeah.
You think, even though there were times previously that pundits were saying that the ball wasn't getting played quickly enough to Haaland, and because of Guardiola's system, it was pass.
Yeah, I mean, he's been clinical, hasn't he? He was clinical at Dortmund.
Yeah.
But
everywhere.
Yeah, but it all depends, like I say, it all depends if the system suits him. And I think Ipswich, it was through 1-on-1 at 0-0.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's lack of confidence, but you'd expect him to bury it. But yeah.
I mean, at his current scoring rate, obviously he is projected to beat it in like the next 5 years, I think. But it also depends how long he stays in the league. Because if you sign a contract extension, it doesn't necessarily mean that you won't move elsewhere.
No.
And especially if Guardiola leaves and things change.
I mean, they could be playing like a brilliant game there, couldn't they? Where they've got him on an 8-year contract. Something comes in about their financial status or anything like that. And then someone will want Haaland and just blow him out of the water. And they'll be like, oh yeah, that's solved our problem there. There you go, on the books, it's all done.
Yeah, well, because his previous contract, I think he had a release clause, but this one they've taken it out. So obviously that does mean that for somebody to come in and buy him, they're going to need to spend a lot of money. And obviously Real Madrid have that money, and to me, the only place that he would go is Real Madrid, because it's Real Madrid. Everyone seems to end up there. All the elite players seem to end up there.
We wouldn't go to young boys.
On City, to move on to a bit of transfer chat, they've signed a few players already so far this season, and they're looking at signing a few more, so 4 or 5 players that they could be bringing in. Do you think their transfer business this month hurts Guardiola's legacy? So what I mean by that is, does City's transfer business show that Guardiola is unable to resolve his side's issues without going big in the transfer market?
Well, in a way, yes, but that's been... Clubs have always bought players, and the top clubs have always tried to buy the best talent. Ferguson did it, Wenger not so much, Mourinho did it at Chelsea.
Because I've seen, the reason why I asked that, the odd bit on social media that you see, because City are signing players to cover for the issues that they've got, people saying, oh, how can you put him above the likes of Mourinho as greatest Premier League, in like the list of greatest Premier League all-time managers? But as you've just said, Mourinho, especially when he came to Chelsea, signed a lot of players.
Well, Mourinho, they're the reason financial fair play came in.
Yeah. When he went to United, they signed Pogba and Lukaku, I think, in his first full season in charge, or whenever it was. The only one maybe that this changes is, would you put Klopp above him? But because obviously...
Well, they even spent money. I mean, he bemoaned them spending money, but then Van Dijk was 70, 80 million, wasn't he?
75 million, yeah.
Then Alisson was another, 60?
60 million. Those two were the last pieces in the puzzle.
Yeah, so, and he was saying about how much money clubs were spending on players and that he would never do it, and then did. And it's the way the transfer market's also inflated.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I'll still say this. The big one for me is letting Cole Palmer go.
Yeah.
Like, how that's a good bit of business, I honestly don't know.
Well, for the price that they let him go for, which was about £40 million as well. Yeah. As it was a case of because he was pure profit coming through their academy system. I know, but you see what he's doing now.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I don't get it. Like, you got Savinho or you got Cole Palmer. I know I'd have all day long.
Yeah, well, we have praised City for letting players go and getting decent transfer fees for them. But that certainly is, or was a misstep. Should have been playing more minutes at the time. Now we can talk about a little bit about Arsenal, also on transfer business.
Yeah, you're right. It's time to go!
I'm not covering any of that. This is one of the most toxic fan bases in the world. That's what I will say about my own flipping club.
I know.
It's mental, isn't it? Absolutely mental. But so before the North London derby, obviously you shared the Google advert with Sol Campbell, which was very good. Yeah, the question I wanted to ask, having seen that advert before the North London derby, because it had me thinking, would you take any Tottenham players right now at Arsenal? And if so, who would you pick?
Well, you put Kulusevski. So if there was no one else on the right wing to challenge Saka or be back up to Saka, then maybe, yeah. I would take Son in the summer on a free. If there's no one else on the left.
He signed a 1-year contract extension. They triggered the option.
Oh, did he?
Extend. So yeah, his contract now runs until 2026.
I didn't realise that. That's how casual I am.
Yeah.
Had he been on a free, depending on his wages, to challenge Martinelli, and because other than what we discussed earlier, he's normally a pretty decent finisher.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's to me he's regressing, which is
why
I wouldn't really.
But again, it wouldn't be to be ahead of Martinelli, but maybe to pass on the knowledge.
Yeah,
but I'm sure there's better left wingers out there. But out of that whole team, yeah,
Van der Ven, if he could stay fit, is one that I'd also consider. But to me, the reason I put Kulusevski is because in what has been a difficult season for Tottenham, he's been the main shining light. His finish against Everton, yeah, I know they were losing 3-0, but it was lovely.
Oh yeah, it was beautiful.
It's the fact that he can play outright and he can also play in the number 10 position. Because to me, what we need at Arsenal, obviously cover for Saka or cover for Ødegaard, he would do both, and he's just a good player. So
yeah, that finish against Everton was very underrated, wasn't it?
Because he could have squared it, he could have
and that's a player. That's a player in confidence as well. What did he have? 2-3 Everton players in front of him?
Was that 3 or 4?
And managed to dink it almost on the half volley
perfectly. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
filth, wasn't it? Absolute filth.
Speaking of Everton Spurs though, did you see Richarlison almost doing a lap of honour? Whilst all the other Spurs fans were going over to the fans to sort of say sorry, he was going around the pitch.
To all the Everton fans.
Yeah.
Where he put
Take me back.
He put something out on social media after that to say that it was a pleasure to play at Goodison Park for the last time. Because he made 86 appearances, whatever else. And it's just funny reading.
For the last time?
Yeah. So you're going to do the same thing?
What?
Because they're leaving the stadium. That's what the reference was to.
Oh,
Because he's never going to play at Goodison Park again.
Oh, so that's why he's doing a lap of honour.
But
that man's ego. Jeez. Do you think they care?
On the comments, you had all these Tottenham fans going, "Oh, we don't want you if you don't want to be here." But he was talking about specifically.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I see. I mean, you could have taken that one of three ways there, couldn't you? Like, he's leaving Spurs, or he thinks Everton are getting relegated.
Yeah. Oh, that as well.
Or he thinks Spurs are getting relegated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just
ego, as you said.
Yeah.
On Arsenal transfer business, are you surprised that we haven't brought anyone in so far in this transfer window?
Not really. The January transfer window, it was overhyped, wasn't it? And now it's got to the point where you're paying too much for players in January because other teams are then going to struggle to replace the talent they got. Like, for example, in Bremo, he's been linked with Arsenal and other teams. They'll slap on an extra 5-10 million.
Probably more than that because of how important it is to Bremo.
And then they got to try and find someone. So, yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I think they need to scrap it, personally. Just have a window for loan, like a loan system. Or, once the transfer window closes, you just have a loan window until the next summer transfer window.
Yeah, because it used to be that the transfer window stayed open for most of the season, didn't it?
Yeah, it was never closed. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Well, I could be wrong.
It was open until March, and then for the final couple of months of the season, it might have closed. But the fact it was open until March meant, anyone could do business at any time.
But then, early days Premier League, unless you really all wanted to do a bit of business, you had your squad and you just got on with it. But it's that with everything else, isn't it? Everything gets overhyped. It's like deadline day, yellow tie, and please, like, it's had its day in the sun.
That deadline day has had its day in the sun because now everything's moved on to social media, and you've obviously got Fabrizio Romano and journalists like that, and obviously David Ornstein, who's also really good for The Athletic. But it is because that news breaks instantly, and as soon as one of those journalists says that the movie's going to happen, you don't need to be on Sky Sports to watch them break the news because you get it instantly through your phone. So it's a return to Arsenal. I did just want to play a little hypothetical game and ask you, which of these forwards would you sign if you could? So obviously assuming that money isn't an issue and whatever else. So, Matheus Cunha.
Yeah. In actual fact, we've been linked with him, haven't we? This window.
He was going to sign a new contract at Wolves, but has said that he's now no longer going to sign that. He also got criticised by Vitor Pereira for walking straight down a tunnel.
Yeah, and Wolves have got Arsenal at home this weekend, haven't they? So it'll be interesting. They're talking about potentially having a deal done before the game. I don't see if that will happen, but
multiple clubs are in for him anyway, so it might not be us, it might be others.
Yeah, but he's one that would certainly improve the squad, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but yes, I would.
Nicholas Jackson.
No.
Victor Gyökeres.
Don't know enough about him. I know apparently he's prolific in Portugal, and loads of clubs are looking at him. I'm going to say no on the basis that I don't know who he is really, Ben.
Cool. I will ask you only Premier League then going forwards because there's a couple of other names that you might.
Yeah, I don't know about Victor. Again, he's another one that I've heard good things about, but I don't see the European football anywhere near as much as I should do. So
Evan Ferguson.
No.
Liam Delap.
No.
Jean-Philippe Mateta.
No.
Darwin Nunez.
No.
Alexander Isak.
Yes.
And now the two that could be more likely, in my head anyway, John Duran.
Yeah.
Ollie Watkins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dusan Vlahovic. No. I know about him. I know he rejected us 2-3 years ago. Stay at Juve, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
when he was playing for Fiorentina.
All right. Yeah, I know, but yeah. Yeah.
Talking of Duran, did you see that West Ham had put in a bid for him, £57 million?
Yeah, that's a strange one.
Yeah. Well, they tried to sign him in the summer, didn't they?
They did, didn't they? And then he stayed. But again, with that, like, they tried to sign him in the summer, but who wants him then? Does Potter want him? Have they gone, Graham, he's a good player, actually. We fancy him.
Potter supposedly wants him, but those at the board level have also said that they want him. But they could have, if they bid £57 million for him in the summer, they would have got him. Now Villa, because of the season that he's had and some of the goals that he's scored, want upwards of 70.
Yeah, and he's not been starting ahead of Watkins since our last conversation, has he? Since being sent off. So he's on the naughty step still.
No, although
all that hard work, he's got to redo it all over again.
But they obviously lost last night against Monaco, and Emery came out and was quite critical of his team afterwards. So we will see if he's starting at the weekend.
The team, yeah.
Because I imagine he'll make a few changes. Right, did you want to say anything more about any of the games over the last couple of weeks?
Oh, let me have a look. No.
Lovely. So then that leaves me to talk about the table of results quickly. So match week 21, which was midweek last week, I got 11, you got 5, James got 7. And from the weekend's action, match week 22, I got 6, you got 10. Potentially would have been 12 if Bournemouth didn't score 2 late goals, but went in Bournemouth. Unlucky. And James got 5.
Ooh, late goals against Steve. Ooh. If you see the results and the predictions, you'll know what I mean.
From the previous weekend, from the previous midweek as well. And overall, that means I am on 145, you are on 129, and James is on 132. So you have closed the gap a little bit to James. Quite close.
I know.
Competitive, yeah.
Well, I was working it out. I just need to get 4 more points than you every week. So I need to get my head down and start being serious now. Start Googling it and getting Excel spreadsheets up and all sorts. Yeah, algorithms.
Spreadsheets are obviously working. That's all I can say.
I need to be like Alan from The Hangover, where all the equations.
And on that note, did you want to do the predictions now, or do you want to save it until later on in the week?
No, well, you wanted to do predictions, so you said to me, "Don't do them. We'll do them on podcast." So I'll write mine down as we go along. I think we haven't done this for ages, so this will be interesting.
Only second time this season. It feels weird, doesn't it? It feels strange.
It is strange. Well, we have to do it in the group as well, don't we?
So off the cuff, yeah. Well, I'll message James with both afterwards. But so you can go first. I'll go second. Obviously, I'll read the games. Match week 23 predictions. Feels like the callback to the old days when we were recording every week as well, wasn't it?
I know.
Bournemouth against Nottingham Forest.
2-1 Bournemouth. Let me guess. 2-1
I don't
Bournemouth.
I don't want to copy. I will go 2-2. Brighton against Everton.
1-1.
For God's sake. Right, that one I am copying. 1-1. Liverpool against Ipswich.
5-1.
4-0. Southampton against Newcastle.
0-4.
3-0 Newcastle. Wolves against Arsenal.
0-2.
2-1 Arsenal. City against Chelsea.
3-1 City.
2-2. Crystal Palace against Brentford. That'd be a good game, that. Palace are in form. Decent form.
I'm going to go 2-1 Palace. Brentford are poor away from home.
Yeah. I'm going to go 2-1 Palace as well. Did you see Chelsea recalled Trevor Chalobah as well?
I did,
Palace.
yeah.
He started the Monday night and was man of the match.
Where's he play? Centre half?
Centre half, yeah. But he
was going to say Chelsea then, didn't you?
But he was put at the start of the season in the so-called bomb squad. You know, the ship out, you've got no chance of playing for us.
What squad? Bomb?
The bomb squad is what it was called, yeah.
Who called them that?
It's the general term going around used by journalists and things like that. I don't know why it was coined in the first place.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
They got injuries in Chelsea.
They have injuries. Fofana's out for 3 or 4 months again, but with a hamstring issue.
Played?
He played a bit. He was the start. Well,
he's the one that signed from Leicester, wasn't he?
Yeah, they were rotating him throughout earlier on in the season. So he has played a little bit, but he's picked up another injury because he did his knee previously. Badiashile is out until February. Colville's normally starting centre half. They've started playing 18-year-old Achimpong, I think, and somebody else, Tosin Adebayo, but the one they're now selling, who originally they said in the summer, no, you're going to be ahead of Chalobah, is Axel Disasi, who they only signed 18 months ago for £40 million. They're moving him on. So,
oh wow,
where's
he going to?
I don't know. Potentially back to France because that's where they got him from.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair play to Chalobah, showing what he can do when given a chance, isn't he?
Yeah, because he he did say before he was recalled to Chelsea, he said that he wanted to stay at Palace, but they gave him assurances that he would be playing first team football when back at Chelsea. But it does feel like to me that it's a short-term solution. So yeah, it would be great for him to play the next 6 months until the end of the season for Chelsea in European competition as well. But Chelsea are looking at signing Gahey again in the summer.
Re-signing him.
Re-signing, exactly. They'll probably be going after other centre-halves, so the same situation for Chalobah will occur, that it'll be moved on.
I mean, Palace will be fuming if Gahey goes. Not if Gahey goes, if Chelsea sort of come in for him. Like,
unless they're going to try and do some sort of swap deal and get Chalobah back. Maybe that opens the door for that.
Maybe. And I want to keep the French lad as well.
Lacroix.
Yeah. Because I think he's done well. And obviously all the chat is about Gahey because he obviously played for England and did all right in the summer, didn't he? But that'll be for the summer transfer window.
Last 3 games, Tottenham against Leicester. Relegation 6-pointer.
A massive 6-pointer there for Spurs. I think 3-1 Spurs.
Why we just want to do the same predictions? I should have gone first. I will go...
I mean, it's good that these are the predictions you want to do, but I know what's going to happen. The ones that you're going for will be the correct scores, aren't they?
I will go...
Blessed. That man is blessed. Other than his ears.
4-2, Tottenham.
Okay.
Aston Villa against West Ham.
It's a tough one because they played midweek. They beat him in the cup. I'm going to go 1-2.
Ooh, interesting. I'm going to go same score as in the cup, so 2-1 Villa.
Fair enough.
And finally, Fulham against Manchester United.
Well, Man United score. They're pretty poor at the moment, open play. But Fulham do concede. I'm going to go 2-1 Fulham.
I will go 3-1 Fulham. Do you know the last time Fulham beat United at Craven Cottage? 2009.
Was that when Stockdale saved a penalty?
I'm not sure. I know Damien Duff and Zamora scored. I think somebody else. Evening game. Or
they should never have lost to them in the opening day, should they? Old Xerxes.
No.
Did you see how much... You know, you was talking about the wages earlier. See how much he's on?
100 plus, isn't he?
120 grand a week, apparently.
Yeah. Well, earlier this month, he was rumoured to be going back to Italy. Juve could have been in for him.
Oh, well, I just... By the way, like when they beat Arsenal, Mum made a good point. Arsenal wearing white, no more red because of knife crime. Xerxes scores the winning penalty. Tell me your dents without telling me your dents. Please. Yeah. Oh,
anyway, yeah. On that note, that wraps it up. Second time doing predictions this season, but first time in a while. So.
Some people, that's all we listened for was the predictions. I mean, we missed a trick, really. Like, because if we do the predictions every time, obviously James isn't here, but maybe we could get him to phone in every now and then. But you could clip that.
What, the full predictions?
Every week. Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe I'll clip it ahead of this weekend.
Yeah.
And then stick it out and see how it does.
Yeah.
See what it does, yeah.
I reckon you might get a lot of hits on that with the predictions. That's enough. See, I'll just... You do it all, I'll just tell you the ideas.
Yeah. I'm still trying to learn what does well, what doesn't do well. It's some things do well that I don't think will do well. Other things don't that I think will do well. It's just check it out and see what happens, really, isn't it?
It's strange, isn't it? Is it because of like the hashtags as well, with the fan bases and all that sort of thing?
Potentially, but because I see all this advice come up about how much you should hashtag or what terms you should use and how often you should post. And at the same time, I think that's all to do with complex stuff about the algorithm. At the end of the day, if people want to watch your content, people watch your content. So it doesn't matter what you're putting out with it, things like that. So I don't know.
And fair play to the people that watch this, like, because sometimes you're almost getting 3 figures, aren't you, with people watching this, just us two idiots sitting here talking.
Yeah.
Unless that's you rewatching it, I don't know. Hello, Ben. Is this the 99th time you've watched it?
It'll be 4 figures if it was just me. It'd be, I want 1,000 views. 1,000 views. Yeah.
You don't know about my fans.
But I mean, even because you talked about the camera earlier on, different sorts of camera. If you had a different setup, it would make the content more engaging. Because obviously, an hour of us talking like this with just one camera angle, it doesn't help views. Like the views will be more, but at the same time,
that's why your clips do better as well. Yeah. Because you zoom in on when we're talking.
Yeah, or use images and things like that. Yeah. But that's why the filming is good because, as you say, the clips do better. But yeah, we'll see. Just keep plugging away and see what happens, innit?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And on that note, thank you so much for joining me, old Skinhead Steve. And
Skinhead Steve. Wow. All right.
Yeah, you taking the mick out of my ears. I've got to give it back.
Yeah, that's why you sit on that side, though. No one can see it.
I've got good side. I've got bad side.
People know. When we record at mine, they're like, Jesus Christ, what's wrong with this camera? He's got water on the ear.
What do you mean? Your arm and your legs are massive, mate. I don't know what you're talking about.
Not on this side, apparently.
And on that note, if you enjoyed
I've got the touch
video,
of Tyrone Mings ACL.
Oh, God, yeah. I remember that video. Yeah. If you enjoyed the podcast, as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share your opinion, because always engage. And otherwise, you shall hear us on the next one. Thank you so much for joining me.
Been my pleasure.
Yeah. On the next one. See you soon.